Hello, welcome to Homeopathic Services. My name is Pierre Fontaine. I've been a professional homeopath for about 25 years, and that entire time has been dedicated to the treatment of autism. As a homeopath, I have a very unique practice in that I only treat autism, or by and large, 95%. Some lupus as well, but um, uh, I wrote 3 books. Yeah, I wrote 3 books that led me to write 3 books on autism. Most particularly the last one that I show now every single time. Mm-mm-mm. Here we go. Okay, The Language of Autism, available on Amazon. That gives a definition for autism. There's no definition. There's no understanding, comprehension. Now, I know I'm repeating myself now with these videos. I'm building back a library since Facebook. I have the privilege of having been erased from Facebook. I do find in that. Um, but the language of autism really tells you what autism actually is in 2 words. In other words, it lists 75 symptoms out of about 150 symptoms of autism, not behaviors. Behaviors, I've said it many times, behaviors are not behaviors. They are symptoms of autism. Once we understand autism, we understand that the behaviors of a child on the spectrum is only acting in terms of symptomatology of his or her ailment rather than having a behavior. That's why it cannot be treated as a behavioral issue. Okay. Now, I ask a very important question. Do you think the treatment you are following today with your doctor will lead to independence? Your child needs to become independent. I guarantee it. I guarantee dependence. It's an obvious question. Because if that's not going to be achieved, then you need to move. You see? Because for 20 years, 25 years, over 25 years, I've heard of improvement. I've heard of improvement, doing chelation, HBOT, maybe some B12, changing the diet, all these multiple things. And thankfully, some kid pulled through. But by and large, the wide majority has not. And we need to ask ourselves. I do think parents need to, that's why I'm asking this question directly to parents. Is your treatment going to lead to full independence? To being diagnosed off the spectrum, which means my child will have perfect eye contact with anyone around. My child will have perfect conversation with anyone around. Not be stuck on a subject, not with odd behaviors, pulling pushing on the eye, running around, so no, a real conversation around the kitchen table. I mean, it has to be the standard. My child be able to socialize. Play a game of pick up basketball on the street, or I don't know, monopoly, or in a completely um, unnoticeable fashion, understand the game of sociology, let's say. Right? Is that possible? Is that possible? Is it going to be possible? Because if it's not, then you need to look for something else that will achieve that. So for 40, 20 years, well over 20 years, 25 years, I've heard of improvement. And then when I actually receive a case of a child who's been on treatment for this or that, or with this or that, I went, whoa, 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 what happened? Well, he's a little bit less aggressive. But that's not independence. As I always say in these videos, we're happy with any progress, with any improvement. But we fail if the child is not going to be diagnosed off the spectrum. It's a failure. And so, personally, instead of harping on what were the causes of autism for these 25 years, I focused on the treatment of autism. The treatment of autism itself. Because as I say in the language of autism, I give a history of autism. It goes way back. It's been with us. It is an illness, and any illness has an answer in terms of treatment. No illness is without an answer from a homeopathic point of view. Now, I've had the privilege of being able to work only with autistic kids. Sorry about this. I made that choice. It's been beautiful. And I can guarantee any kid before 12 can be diagnosed off the spectrum. No need to wait. If a doctor prescribed B12, continue. But move on. Because it's all news now. It's all news. The new news is there is guarantee of being diagnosed off the spectrum. Yeah, using my method. Yeah, well, but I'm happy to present it to you. Give the chance of hearing about it. Because I have behind me, as I always say, there's 300 new homeopathic remedies that are highly singular in their use. Singular in their use means 300 different types of autism, 300 different types of individual on the spectrum. There's about 150 symptoms of autism, including, quote, behaviors. All of these, everybody's getting B12 or chelation and so on and so forth. That's not individualized symptom. That's never going to reach inside autism that is personal to your child. Personal to each individual on the spectrum. It needs something targeted. It needs something individual. That is what homeopathy does. For someone who's been practicing it exclusively for autism. That's why I have access to these 300 remedies that are completely new. not available in the US. Usually it's the other way around. Everything is available in the US. This time it's not. So that's my presentation for today. It's short. I successfully made it to 10 minutes. I hate to make these long videos, but it naturally flows. Today, I kept it to 10 minutes. It's a challenge to parents to not continue towards a dead end, but to shift and move towards your child can be diagnosed off the spectrum. And for certain, that day is a great day. Thank you so very much for listening. My website is homeopathicservices.com. You can reach me here on Facebook via Messenger. Send a message. I'll be happy to answer, respond to your question. The main question again is your treatment going to lead to full independence, to an individual who can sustain himself or herself? It's possible. I can guarantee it. Thank you so very much for listening. Be well, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.